So, do they want the same?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah?
I think it's... We kind of highlighted at the start, right? The fact that she had the Annie in the support role was kind of like, okay, so who's going to be your main engage tool? So it was always going to be difficult. So I don't mind just going back towards something that is a little bit easier.
Yeah, we'll see if SK agree with us. They're on the blue side this time, prioritizing that first pick. Yone and Jace, the first couple of bans for us. I wonder if we'll see, you know, Vi taken away. You can see the Maokai, Sejuani removed, Varus. All of these picks often taken out of the pool in the LEC right now.
Yeah, Movistar KOI had the luxury of getting the Sejuani ban in the last one. Wouldn't be surprised to see that kind of come through. Vi at least already taken away. And then it does just kind of open up to, okay, are we just going to immediately take something like an Azir in the mid lane for Reeker? Although, as we say, he's already kind of been happy to take some counter picks into the Azir, so maybe he's not as high priority on some of those.
Yeah, he's only played Azir once this split so far. I wonder if he'll look towards something like the Viktor. His Ari's been pretty good as well. There's still a couple of picks for Reeker to look at. Could even go towards something like the Sylas if he wants to go melee in that mid lane. Sejuani banned by SK. I wonder if this is setting up for a Maokai. MKOI can ban it on their final first round here, obviously, but in terms of like powerful junglers that give you a lot of utility, a lot of zone control, Maokai and Skana kind of up there on my list.
Yeah, I think if you want to ban the Maokai, there's also an option here for MKOI to, on this next rotation, take something like the Naafiri. I don't think, like we've seen it from Bukata, but I don't think it was the best of performances from him on that pick. So True. I think I'd rather see it going into the hands of, okay, well, MKOI, but it is going to be Bukata.
Yeah, and Naafiri really relies on having pushing lanes so she can get in the enemy jungle, or she can just power farm a few levels up, really keep her own jungle safe, and then look for those level 6 Hounds pursuits. MKOI, I mean, Poppy does pretty well into the Naafiri. The steadfast presence works really well into her ultimate, stops her from being able to dash around at all. And wouldn't be surprised at all, actually, if it's just an B1, R1, in fact, pick. And it is locked in 6-1 in the LEC. A little bit surprising, I will say. But Poppy's one of those picks, I think her win rate deceives you a little bit, because often she's only picked when she's really good into the enemy team comp.
Yeah. Also, okay, so it looks like it will be the Poppy going in towards the jungle as well, and taking this Alistar now for the bottom side of the map. It's interesting to see that Alistar has kind of risen up as this like preemptive pick in the bot lane, because you're like, oh, well, the champions that are still available are like Leona's and Rell's, and then Alistar kind of slots in saying, hey, we'll have a good matchup into both of them, so it'll be fine. But actually not going to be the case. It is going to be just a Viktor immediately taken here. So basically saying, hey, as you were alluding to, I should say, the push is what you're looking for with the Naafiri. Well, Viktor almost guarantees push at this stage, and just because the champions that have already been taken away with his ear band as well, so it makes it easier to try and control that.
Yeah, it just means that you can often have that mid lane prio. It does look like Reeker's going to go towards his Sylas as an answer to it. Stealing away Keeper's Verdict, very solid. Stealing away the Chaos Storm, Arcane Storm as it's now named, very solid as well. Also means that MKOI are less likely to go towards the Alistar, because obviously Unbreakable Will on a Sylas is an incredibly powerful, hijacked ultimate.
Which means you can just go for the Rell now and basically go like, okay, lads, do you want to take the counter pick in the Alistar? Because it'll set you up fine, but actually just going to go back towards the Corki. So Jack Spectra going to be happy on the desk. He was kind of calling for the Corki, but we'll have to see now if that control on the bottom side of the map can set them up for success, and at least set this Naafiri up for success as well.
KOI has a 40% win rate on this Corki, 2 of his 5 games. He's managed to find wins in. There's the Rell locked in by MKOI, so saying, well, we can't really take the Alistar, instead we'll take the Rell. They can ban out the Alistar on this phase as well, knowing that SK haven't picked their support as of yet. There's always the possibility as well that Poppy does go up towards top lane, depending on the matchups. With MKOI having R5, they can save top/jungle for the final pick, and then pick whatever they think suits best in that sort of position. Nico banned and Ambessa taken away. Does make sense to get rid of Ambessa, because you're not going to be playing Ambessa into Poppy at all.
I was wondering if they're just going to go with the Braum ban here from Movistar KOI as well, because there is an angle for Supa to take the MF, and you've just got this big AoE clump that you're sending at them. Because when I'm looking at, oh, well, we're going to have a Sylas, we're going to have a Naafiri, chances are we're going to have a melee top laner as well. Suddenly a lot of SK is playing into a very small area, and I think you could get value from it, but it's a little bit more difficult when you could immediately substitute into Braum here for Loopy. It does mean that Gen X would have to play engage, but if they are going to keep this Poppy flex open, at least you'll get some instinct here from SK as to what Movistar KOI want to do.
Yeah, you can play something like an Ornn or a Sion as well if you want just a bit of a tank engage here. up towards the top side. The Alistair is the ban. Instead, there's a Nidalee and an Ambessa removed by SK. Now, we did see Nidalee top in the LTA. Bwipo played it. They did win. It was not due to Bwipo in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, there's been a couple of them. I mean, Zayas has played it as well, I'm pretty sure. So it's doing the rounds.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's that good.
And neither am I.
Whenever I see AD Nidalee top, I'm just like, guys, what are we doing?
Even when it has like 3 kills, I'm like,
I mean, that's just Nidalee in general in the LEC. It seems to get ahead in the early game, unable to do too much more after that point. Zeri picked, there's the Gwen, and it's going to be Gragas support for SK. A lot of magic damage on this team. Obviously, the Naafiri and the Corki kind of balancing that out.
Yeah, it's just going for the Gragas is a little unusual because your flash body slam Poppy exists now. It doesn't make, and obviously it's like in a different lane, so I'm talking about as we get to the mid game, but it still feels like you're heavily reliant then on, okay, I need a really solid cast from Loopy, otherwise it all goes a bit wrong for SK. Or maybe it is the, hey, I want to go for double knockaway with both Sylas and Gragas, but it feels a little strange. But Kennen from Myrwn to round it out, this is just so much AoE damage coming through from Movistar KOI right now.
It really is. All about that big clumped AoE in the middle of team fights. Kennen yet to be played here in Spring, so it's the first time we will see it brought out. I'm pretty sure it's the first time Myrwn's played it all year. I'm going to have a quick check on that. Yeah, hasn't played it all year. So Myrwn continuing to invent, continuing to bring out new things. He has got a few games on the champ, 5 of them across the course of his career. Last played it last year in season finals against G2 and did win that game. So the question, I think, is SK feel very good at skirmishing to me and very good at spread out fights. I don't know how they make that happen apart from Gragas ultimate.
Yeah, I think it's also like you do have access with the Sylas ultimates and some things to try and get a Poppy ult and keep people away using Keeper's Verdict, but it still feels very difficult to achieve. And I think a lot of that is then going to be based on, okay, how much value can we get not only from the Poppy knockback, but from these other ultimates that are available as well. Because technically, Sylas can still away Myrwn's ultimate. Maybe you get big AoE in that way, kind of get those kind of fights. But I do agree, it feels like side laning and skirmishing are the name of the game, but little enabling to get there.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for them to get into a position where they get they're stronger in side lanes and where they can effectively skirmish. Is the exhaust teleport for Genax in the top lane? I saw the Yuumi with a gun on the posters someone made. That was very cool. I would definitely get that emote if it was in the game. It's what my cat is like every morning. When it's 6 o'clock and she wants food, it's like, okay, there's no way you're getting out of getting up and getting me food right now. Literally puts her paw on my eye to wake me up.
They know. They know at this stage,
Yeah, it's just... doesn't happen to my wife. It's strange.
Yeah.
I am the designated breakfast giver, it seems.
Well, I mean, you'd cook as well, so I assume they see you give food to your wife, and then
they just see me as the provider. Yes, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Not sure they're that smart. I think I've just given them food enough times. They're like, ha, the food dispenser. But let's talk about how this early game is likely to go here, Rob, because Myrwn does have a slight range advantage into Genax, who's gone Grasp here. Myrwn looking for the Electrocute, looking for those short trades up towards the top side. It's always a little bit risky if you fall behind as the Kennen here, because after a while you can't really do too much into the Gwen if she spaces correctly against you. And it will just meet and Myrwn will throw out an auto attack.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult for me to see kind of a path for SK into this, right? Because generally whenever I look towards an Naafiri, there's 2 things that I want. It's 1, the push that we've already hit on, but 2, it's ease of setup for a Naafiri gank. Because you want to try and get her kills, want to try and set her up to play ahead. Reeker kinda can set up plays, but it's not really guaranteed. You look at bot lane as well, it's kind of difficult for Loopy. It's, hey, can we get past all these minions and not get caught, and Supa doesn't dash away. So it is difficult on both aspects of setting up Naafiri. And now you're kind of looking at the lanes going, okay, well, ideally I would like to enable Reeker in an early skirmish where the Sylas can kind of pop off and set that up, but that's a little bit wonky as well because we don't really have ways to enable him like a Sejuani or something like that, right? So I think there's just a lot of it's slightly awkward, and some of the kits work together but don't really gel massively well together. And especially when you look at like Elyoya being present in a lot of these early skirmishes, making it significantly more difficult for Reeker, for Bukata, and also then for Genax. It just feels like there's a lot of issues for SK in getting the game rolling. Whereas for Movistar KOI, it's a very clear game path. It's, hey, we will play for big AoE team fights using Myrwn, using Jojo, and have Supa providing that last little bit of DPS to take people down.
Yeah, just go in with the wombo combo. Elyoya was spotted as he walked in towards these Razor Beaks. KOI and Loopy pushing up. Alvaro will be looking for the engage here. Flash, shadowing strike, good knockback by Loopy. KOI flashes and uses the Valkyrie as well. Elyoya on the chase here. Loopy still has a flash of his own and will get away from the hammer smash with it.
So Elyoya again, early gang towards this bottom side of the map to try and make things happen. This time around, burning both flashes. And going back for a cheeky look again.
So what Alvaro's trying to do here is get Loopy's body slam out early if he can. Elyoya goes in, body slam in by Loopy. There's the follow-up onto KOI, but he does still have the barrier, so he'll survive. Elyoya burned the flash for that. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Jojopyun on the wrong side of this trade. Reeker's TP back into the lane, whereas Jojo has yet to use his teleport. Bukata coming in from the side hit as well. Looking at that chase onto Alvaro and Supa. They really just want the wave more than anything else. Bukata about 2 camps ahead of Elyoya right now.
Yeah, Alvaro took a terror shot in the last one, so I think that's why Bukata was like, okay, maybe we can turn this around, but not really in a position to do so. And now with the push on this bottom side, Bukata should be at least be able to secure both Scuttle Crabs, which will be nice, but I didn't get to see exactly what happened in the mid lane. I'm surprised Jojo got caught in the position that he was in.
So Reeker reset, TP back in. I think Jojo just greeted for an extra couple of minions, and then Reeker jumped on him immediately after the teleport, right? So nothing too consequential. Jojo didn't burn flash, didn't burn TP.
It was more just being that far ahead of his minions, where I was like,
yeah, I mean, it happens, you know. I watched, I think it was Quid yesterday, greed for a Kennen minion and die on a mid-wave. Just happens, you know. You're like, oh, he's teleporting in. I can definitely get
so it's
this
an NA issue,
there.
is what you're saying.
Yes, yeah, 100%, 100%.
Because LEC mid laners would never mess up.
No, how would they ever do such a thing? Bukata does get both of the Scuttle Crabs and will work his way back through his jungle. He's about 3 camps ahead of Elyoya now, so in a really strong spot in terms of the 1v1 matchup. The risk for him is all of his lanes are kind of losing, only about 150 to 200 gold here and there, but MKOI will be pretty happy with how this early game has gone.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of the issue that we're illuminating, right, is that there's just very little that you can really do to influence these, because wherever Elyoya shows up, just nullifies so much of how SK want to try and play these fights. Alvaro also been a pretty sizable threat when it comes to just interacting with SK, because you've got 3 melee champions on SK4, obviously with the Gragas, but it's carries that can be disrupted by Alvaro, can be disrupted by Elyoya, and then just Myrwn running in on top. It just feels like MKOI have a really good comp to try and play into.
Jojo constantly putting the pressure down in the mid lane. Will get himself his first plate. Myrwn's having to deal with KOI and Loopy, who swapped up towards this top side. Supa being left alone down towards that bottom lane. He's going to lane into Genax for the next little while. We'll give him a lot of XP over Loopy. Get him towards that level 6 a little bit quicker. Still 2 minutes away from the grubs spawning. Elyoya already on this Drake though, and MKOI will start the dragon sacking early.
You do have to be a little careful as Kadu in the top side though, because you've just hit 5. Myrwn's about to hit 6, and honestly I think one big engage with no flash and no barrier for at least a little bit could mean that Myrwn could end up setting up for something. So you can see they have to play, well, actually MKOI realizing it.
Alvaro goes in, shadowing strike onto Loopy, so he can't body slam you out of the crash down, but KOI obviously does still have that Valkyrie, a little escape tool in his toolkit to extricate himself from that situation. Myrwn, as you say, is that level 6, the Slicing Maelstrom, can do a lot of work. Super dealing with Genax, but he can always just dance across the wall to safety.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard for Genax to really do anything, but yeah, you can see here, MKOI know how much damage they have, and that's a
nice stun onto Loopy for Myrwn. Alvaro claims first blood with the ignite. The wave now pushed in. KOI will catch it under his tower, but Myrwn and Alvaro showing their synergy is just as on point as Supa's and Alvaro's in the early game.
You have a ranged top laner, so it's very easy to just go, all right, support move, we're going to keep it in the same spot, but the all-in, the level 6 is so strong, and Reeker now getting a good amount of damage back from Jojo, but he is completely out of mana, so I think it'll be more just now for Jojo to try and clear out this wave and reset.
Yeah, just wants to get back and get that mana topped up again. Doesn't have the teleport right now. Reeker constantly trying to trade with him. Alvaro coming across to make sure that his mid laner is safe as houses, pushing through this wave. Bukata is sneaking into the jungle. Elyoya will spot him out. Steadfast presence early for the movement speed and escapes Bukada's clutches. I wonder if we'll see Jojo going for the Catalyst build here, or if he'll go for a full Rod of Ages. Already has a Sapphire and a Ruby Crystal. Bukada jumps up with the core of the pack and avoids the crash down. Myrwn coming in from the side as well, forcing Reeker and Loopy away. Loopy burning his flash in the exchange.
Yeah, I can understand the idea here from SK is we know Jojo's low on mana, let's try and make this play work, but just overextending way too far to try and get something to happen in the top side, at least to get the red, but Flash is burnt now on Loopy, trying to get out. And you're still not really in any of a better position for it.
It's just really easy to let last game get in your head a little bit as well and be like, oh, we just lost by 18,000 gold. We only got 3 kills in the whole game. Let's do proactive stuff. We're losing this early game. We're behind on CS. We're behind on plates. Behind on kills. Let's try and force things. When sometimes you don't need to, and in fact, often you don't need to in situations like this. Reeker looking for Jojo, who will flash away. Doesn't have the mana for any follow-up onto Reeker. Hound's Pursuit coming out from Bukada as Jojo doesn't have a summoner to escape this. Bukada still chasing him down. The dog's doing a little bit of work as well, but there's not enough mustard on those to choke the life out of Jojo.
Loopy now trying to come in as well. Alvaro just missing with the Shattering Strike, but yeah, again, you can kind of see SK, they're feeling that pressure to try and make that play happen, but just aren't really able to get it across the line. Jojo very low, but no real follow-up, and now it's Movistar KOI with the first move onto Grubs, but Jojo is still a base, whereas Reeker just TP back in.
Yeah, Jojo doesn't have his teleport right now, so MKOI will get 1 grub, but they're going to be at a numbers disadvantage if they continue to fight this. Supa working his way out of base right now. Myrwn's on the wrong side of the wall, does have the flash and might have to burn it to escape. Alvaro looking for the engage. Reeker going in, has that slicing master, but missed the abscond abduct, or at least the chains part of it. MKOI will back away, and that is an example of MKOI being a little bit over-eager, I think.
I think they were trying to buy time for Elyoya's slide to come back up. You could see he was just kind of ticking. It was like, maybe we can steal one away, but yeah, when you already had Jojopyun moving fully down into this bottom side, Supa still trying to compete on that mid-wave as well. It just was never really going to be something that came from it, but still backing away. And I think it's just unfortunate for SK the Reekers have started to didn't connect, but now Loopy
looking for Alvaro. Shattering Strike going down. There's the CC onto Loopy, slicing Maelstrom from Reeker with the abscond. Duck gonna get chased down as Reeker gets SK's first kill of the game. Supa answers with 1 onto the Gragas himself. Bukada's gonna get chased out here. We'll have the cooldowns up pretty soon. Jojo chasing Genex out of the bottom lane, but not really much more doing there.
Now, so 1 for 1 all said and done. Supa is still trying to just push on towards Reeker, but won't be able to finish him off. Still, at least SK, like, hiding in bushes, trying to look for something, but I think the fact that Supa kind of sent himself so far away from the fight meant that they just couldn't really follow up to get any other members there, because I was looking at a flash potential ultimate from Elyoya to buy a little bit more time, but Supa doesn't really have the damage right now.
It's also whether you want to invest those resources right now. There's a Drake up in 30 seconds time. You've got a 1 for 1. Yeah. Do we need to force more? The answer is probably no. We'll have another look at the fight around here. It's a good setup by Loopy, waiting in that bush for Alvaro.
But it is where, so Reeker does go in, but Supa repositioned, so he's not really there. So you're only really going on towards 1, and then also just the lockdown on towards the Gragas immediately at the wall from Elyoya meant he had nowhere to go.
Did he also miss the lightning crash because he rode so far away? Not sure if he got the extra.
I think he missed it.
Extra bounces from that, but it doesn't really matter. At the end of things, it will be back up for this next fight, about 7 seconds away from the cooldown. Drake, the next opportunity for these two teams to butt head. 1,000 gold lead for MKOI, but the only completed item in the whole game right now actually is that Hextech rocket belt on Myrwn. He has the teleport, Genex does not. Both of them currently matching up in the top lane.
Looks like they're eyeing up Reeker for the moment, so, but Kadui's still on midway first, so it's a little messy from MKOI to try and set this up, and good trade from Reeker in this bottom side as well. I think MKOI have to give this one up.
Oh, flash forward into the Keeper's Verdict, stolen away. Elyoya's going to have to flash away. The dog's chasing Jojo for a moment. Loopy coming in as well with an eye, a little bit of vision. He can go for the cast, but Jojo sidesteps it, puts down the gravity well as well, and will catch out Reeker in the midst of it. That's 2 already. Jojo with a fancy feed. MKOI find 3 on the bottom side. Jojo, I think, died to the bite of the dogs in the end, but wonderful play from the mid lane man for MKOI.
That was what I was going to say. He got them back. It didn't really matter as Supa just trading a little bit here, but really nice stuff from Jojo. getting down that CC, setting up well, and especially as SK were in a winning position to move for Dragon. They probably didn't need to go for the play. GenX had already walked down from the top half of the map, but you'll see it here. Like, they think they can get Jojo, but sidestep the cast, sets up beautifully, immediately puts down the gravity field as well, and then with Alvaro coming in, just buys a little bit of time, but yeah, it just ends up dying, I believe, to the bleed just off of the Naafiri. But still, Movistar KOI getting this turnaround, because honestly, this should have been an SK objective. GenX had moved down, Kadui had push in mid, they had already gotten Jojo low, all they had to do was go for the Dragon, but now MKOI get the kills, they get Dragon, and they might look for GenX.
Yeah, look at Jojo towards the top side, exhaust down onto Myrwn, Elyoya locks GenX against the wall and Myrwn takes the kill. Meanwhile, the dive on the top side didn't materialize for SK. Alvaro here to defend his mid lane.
Yeah, and this is... oh. I don't think we want to go this... There we go, yeah, SK going to back off, but... this is what I've like really started to enjoy about MKOI is like when we say Elyoya and Alvaro work really well together, oftentimes it's actually on opposite sides of the map like this, where it's Elyoya is going to make the offensive play and Alvaro is always there on the defensive side of the map, and it just makes it really difficult for teams to try and make that play, because you can see there Alvaro just stands there and ends up thwarting 4 members of SK that were starting to move up towards that top side.
It's just so damn menacing, man. You just can't get past
a metal horse.
I mean,
you don't really want to mess with it.
It's pretty scary, gotta be honest. 3,000 gold lead now for MKOI, 2 Drakes to the good as well, 4 minutes on soul point for them. It's a mountain soul, which will help them a lot in these skirmishes. For SK, you're starting to get towards first item. Spear complete for Bukada. GenX has a Rift Maker. Reeker has gone Catalyst, but I think it might not be the Rod of Ages build. We'll see what he gets on this recall. We have seen a lot of people just sitting on a Catalyst and then going towards different mage items in the last couple of days. And with the changes to Catalyst on this patch, it works really well. He teleports back up to the top lane. Did he buy items? I haven't seen the items updated at all. Maybe he just didn't have them. As GenX is caught down towards this bottom side, Myrwn flashing into the Halo Mist to make sure he gets the stun. Elyoya slams him into the wall, and Supa claims the kill.
I mean, Movistar KOI just moving around this map so well, even using that TP here from Jojopyun to get into mid, to cover the push from Kadui, so you don't really get an answer on the mid lane push either. Movistar KOI, again, very firmly in control, and this is what it looks like when you've got a top team in the LEC. There's just no real getting in.
Yeah, it's really hard for SK to find anything to do, right? You're expecting, well, you're hoping that MKOI make a mistake around an objective, make a mistake on a map movement. Right now, they're not really doing that. Lost a couple of kills early on, but haven't really given up anything since then. Now, a 4,000 gold lead going to materialize for them, and you're looking at 2 items at the time that SK have 1 item, which is never a position you want to be in.
Yeah, it's definitely less than ideal, I will say. And SK setting up for a Rift Herald contest. I don't know if this is the right call.
I mean, setting up for something is okay. It's whether they stay and contest the Rift Herald after setting up, because maybe someone walks in alone. Maybe Elyoya oversteps. He's not, because he and Alvaro have been very much on the same page this game and this series and over the last couple of weeks. But SK take a poke, take a prod, and then immediately back away, realizing they didn't really want to be prodded back.
Yeah, I think it's just with the amount that's been invested here, it means you're kind of missing a chance to maybe look for Myrwn on the bottom side, because the exhaust, I think, from GenX is up. No, maybe just slightly off, but maybe... Oh, hang on.
Loopy goes in. Alvaro there with Magnet Storm as well. Loopy locked up. Elyoya is going to take him out of the gravity well, but doesn't really matter as MKOI find 1. Chase for a little bit more here. Rift Herald going down. They'll try and crack the tier 1 in the mid lane. Bukada here to defend alongside Kedwi, but I don't really think they have the manpower to do so. Rift Herald's going to charge in. That tower's going to go down. Exhaust comes out from GenX with the jump in by Elyoya and Alvaro. Slicing mouse and stolen away by Reeker, but it just doesn't do any damn damage. He dies. Now Jojo's trying to chase Kedwi around the bend. He lands it! He went bowling. That's a strike for Jojo as MKOI are now 11 kills to 2 up.
Yeah, it's just gone from bad to worse for SK. Loopy tried desperately to make it happen, but I think the raucousness got to his head, and MKOI able to turn the fight around.
It's just... You can see what SK are looking for on so many occasions, and MKOI are just better. Today, they are just them. And there's not really much SK can do to stop it.
It's also like, if this wasn't a Gragas engage, maybe you can do more. But it's like, oh, but the cask was slightly wide, so Jojo doesn't end up in the team. It's not like it's a Rell or an Analyst or a Elyoya or something that's just easy to execute on. And I think that's been my biggest gripe with SK's compositions today. It's just been, they are just more difficult to execute, and the barrier to entry is just significantly higher. So I think it's just, unfortunately, the hands needed to be a little bit, needed to be firing on all cylinders if they wanted to make it happen, and they just aren't quite there today.
I don't think anyone thought that was going to hit. I'm going to be honest. KOI had flash, could have used it, maybe thought the rest of it, MKOI were on their way quickly enough. I didn't quite hear what Jojo
I think it was just
there.
a noise of appreciation.
Had a few of those from Myrwn last week.
Just a few, yeah.
Very appreciative of being in Madrid. Reeker goes in. Alvaro here once again to defend his mid laner. Jojo's Arcane Storm doing a little bit more damage than Reeker's. Both of them have gone the Rod of Ages, but Jojo has a full Leandries to back up his Rod.
That's cheap. I think you gotta go back and sell us. So then
okay.
It's like an ARAM, you got a handshake and be like, what are the starting items? And I feel like Jojo hasn't really respected what those starting items were.
There's enough comeback mechanics in the game. Let's not add, oh, I think it's unfair you farmed better than me and taken more towers. It's not swift play. Elyoya looking for Janax once again. Will knock him back. Myrwn going in for the chase. Needs those stacks to get the stun and finds them. Steps into the Hallowed Mist. And even the Needles can't sew a way out of the situation for Janax. Ricardo is going to be able to steal away these Krugs. I don't think it matters too much. Jojo's coming in. They're going to try and fight. I think I would be a little bit greedy. Making 2 plays on the map is always something we frown upon, unless you are exceptionally good at League of Legends.
I think it was just to poke their head in and get vision as to who exactly was in the area, so they could see how much further they could go on the bottom side play. But Jojo TPing out as he spotted the TP coming in behind him. And it's, just swap places.
I mean, it's a tier 2. Like, MKOI just get a tier 2 for this. Reeker TP's in, looking for a bit of a Barney on the top side, and Jojo's like, actually, I think towers taste better right now. It will be the 3rd turret of the game for MKOI. Yet to see SK get 1. In fact, most of the towers above half HP. Still those tier 1s. Jojo will be gifted over some of this local gold, as MKOI, in fact, extend their gold lead to almost 8.8k.
And there's Dragon in 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just like
I'm glad they started sacking the dragons quickly this game.
Yes.
Because it gives you an earlier soul fight. Like, the MKOI are playing exceptionally patient and exceptionally well, but it does mean if you don't get the first few dragons of the game, often you are waiting an extra 10 minutes at the end of the game to win the game.
Yeah.
It's, here, they haven't done much waiting on the Rift, and they've managed to get 2 items on all of their carries for the moment. Reeker and Bukada.
I think this is ambitious.
From Reeker and Bukada, yeah, but man, give them something. Like, let them be ambitious, okay? They don't have much else right now.
That is fair.
You go around like children's, like into nurseries and such, and you're like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they're like, I'm a firefighter. It's like, no, you can't be a firefighter. You're just squashing everyone's dreams.
No, is it The Simpsons or something where someone talks about like not everyone could be the president?
It's true.
Yeah, and then you go in and you just tell anyone who wants to be the president, you know that's like 1,000,001 chance, whatever it is, and then just put them down, put them in their place. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Janax trying to put Jojo in his place, but I don't think he wins this one. Okay, not everyone can be Jojo.
And he's not going to be president.
Maybe you're Canada. Who knows? Yet to see the league player into politician pipeline. I'd vote for Froggen. I'd vote for Froggen, okay? Let's put it out there.
I don't know if I want someone who's lived in a gaming house their whole life to be in charge of a country. The man can barely organize a fridge.
I'll give you that one. MKOI, though, we see Jojo picking up a kill. We see SK getting their first tower of the game, investing up towards that top side. Atakan now for Movistar. And they're in prime position to close this one out. 1:30 before the next Drake. It's been really clean. And I think over the last couple of weeks, of our top 4 teams, MKOI have been the most consistent. G2 have fumbled, Fnatic have been good, but not exceptional. It hasn't been consistent all the time. And I think Carmine Corp this week looked good, but you have to remember 2 weeks ago when they did struggle a little bit.
I mean, even, I was going to say, like, their early games have still been a little bit wanting.
They're still falling behind a little bit in the early games, it's true. So, setting up for playoffs pretty darn well. Loopy looking for the engagement. Good dodge away by Supa. Lightning Crash now stacking up. TP's coming out from MKOI's. Genex tries to get onto the backline, but he's going to be chased down now. Loopy and Reeker very low as Reeker tries to dash forward, but you just can't dash into that. Ricardo goes to the wrong place at the wrong time and is slammed into a wall. MKOI find another 3 with Drake up in 40 seconds. They can just look to push in these lanes, take the dragon, get the soul, and then close out the match.
It was ambitious from SK, but Movistar KOI in a good position.
They need to lay those foolish ambitions to rest, don't they? Oh, nice from Elyoya. Dashes to a minion, pops the steadfast presence, so no Valkyrie out from KOI. And I think KOI thought, well, they're going to be going for the dragon. I can just defend this tower.
That's a man who could be El Presidente.
Oh, yes. Elyoya, 2032. I don't know when Spanish elections are, I'm going to be honest.
No clue.
But yes, he could. Nice little play overall. You can see SK's still looking for something. It's like, oh, we caught 2 people out.
I mean, it's just really good reactions from Supa, because honestly, I think if Supa gets caught, maybe you could turn that around, especially with Reeker having stolen the ultimate. Like, that's quite a lot of AP damage based off of the, well, you nearly got to see it there, but yeah, I think it's just unfortunate. And again, it's kind of, as you say, SK trying to find something in this game. I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it either. I hope those are going out to the stream.
But at least there's a smile, you know?
That's
at least
true.
he's still there.
Just having a little bit of fun. Genex caught out once again. MKOI did get the soul. Baron up in a minute's time, which is why they're setting up towards this top side. But Supa and Elyoya have other ideas as they pushed in a wave towards bot. SK do have a little bit of vision around here, so can avoid the clutches of the Poppy and the Zeri, and will do so. I guess MKOI, they're a little bit short range, so you kind of need the Baron to really push in. Just deny all of this vision and then play the Baron and play the push.
I think that is kind of the thing we're seeing a lot more at the moment, is that games are just going to 30 minutes now because of Baron. It's with that now moving to 25 minutes, there's nothing really monumental enough to take all the towers and deny people from being able to push waves, so games are taking a little bit slower. And I think in this game it is just MKOI waiting for that objective spot. Like, you can see they're just standing there going like, all right, 22 seconds, lads. Anyone need anything from the shops? Ice cream?
Could get a control ward. Yeah. Little cloth armor. It's nice enough, you know. I'll have a 99, please, with a flake.
Sprinkles?
Yeah, no sprinkles. Okay. No sprinkles. I'm a fan of the flake. The sprinkles are just a little bit too bitty for me, you know.
It still upsets me. This is me being old Rob for a second.
Sure.
Whenever I see that they're not 99 cents anymore.
Yes, yeah. it should be 99p. I know you use cents. We use pence.
We had 99p.
Oh, you did, yeah.
With the
you can now, if you go somewhere expensive, it's like £3, £4 for a flake. I was like, excuse me, sir. Or like a 99, right? Yeah. So that was very, very UK of me and very Irish of you, that little part of the conversation. SK once again looking for a little bit of a bait bush, but couldn't find anything. I'll have to go and deal with the waves that have been pushed in. KOI might be caught out here by Myrwn. Does have the Valkyrie, has the flash as well. Myrwn looking for the stun, didn't quite land the third proc of the Mark of the Storm. And won't stun up KOI. Alvaro goes in, flash shield. He's in a pretty strong spot. Is that Rell? Baron has to be the option for MKOI. They don't actually have perfect vision control around it, and they do have a sweeper on Elyoya, so they could clear it out. I think they've started up. There's enough pings happening towards it from SK that I think it has been begun by MKOI. Myrwn, though, keeping SK at bay in the mid lane. Bukada getting chased out by Alvaro. MKOI have the Baron down at 8,000. Bukada looking for a possible steal angle, but I don't know if he's ever going to find it. Could eviscerate over the wall, but Alvaro, yeah, is just keeping him marked the entire time. MKOI will get the Baron. TP comes out from Genex as well, as perhaps they look to collapse around the kill, but the TP tentative at best, ambitious we will say, but they need to do like Margit and get Margit out of this mid lane now.
Yeah, I mean, 3v4 and you're running for the hills is never a good look, especially as Jojopyun is still moving through top side.
Look at Bukada, he's just being chased by Alvaro the entire time.
I mean, dog versus horses.
Yeah, horse wins. Horse wins. Reeker goes in with the slicing Maelstrom, counter slicing Maelstrom used by Myrwn, but he's the first to fall in the fight. Loopy will go down as well. A 1-for-1 the exchange. Bukada was chased out. MKOI will feel buoyed enough to continue pushing in. third kill of the game for SK. That's how many they got in game 1, and might be where they end up in game 2 too. Yeah.
100 Rells versus Gwen.
Let's not get into this, okay? Because 100 Rells with 100% win. I don't think people realize, like, the whole 100 people versus a gorilla thing, we conquered the earth with our hands. Like, we took down mammoths, like humanity. Obviously, I haven't taken down a mammoth.
What?
I know. I was going for the last one. They just ended up extinct just before, yeah.
I hate when that happens.
Supa's going to chase Picardo out. Genax chase down towards the bottom side as well. Like, MKOI can win this game at any point now. It is just about which wave they decide to play on. You can see Myrwn TPing towards bot. Elyoya keeping Bukada out of his own base. They're waiting for the super minions, which are next wave in mid, a wave away in top. There's triple inhib, so we'll get double super spawning. And SK relegated to defending their Nexus towers.
I mean, the towers are gone. Like, this is just a slow demise of SK, and from Movistar KOI, it's a nice ascent into playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, MKOI in superb form right now. They'll find another 2. And SK really couldn't put up a fight. MKOI, off the back of a great performance in Madrid, continue their winning ways and lock their spots in playoffs.
That was clinical.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff from Movistar KOI, and it's exactly what you want to see as we start to move in towards our final week of the regular season, is them coming alive, and I'm just excited to see more.
Yeah, they have one more series to play up against Heretics, I think it is, a Rogue, and the last day of the split. Currently sitting at 5 wins in total, can get up to 6. Expectations are they won't be able to crack the top 2. Fnatic are already locked in that top 2. Carmine Corp, with next week's performances, will get 1 win to get in there. You can vote for one of the MKOI players in the key player of the series. Vote Myrwn, Jojo, or Supa are your options. Great performance all round by all of them, in my opinion. I think Alvaro and Elyoya had really good series as well. We talked about them a lot with their movements on the map. So overall, I think anyone from MKOI deserves the MVP of the day.